Hello everyone, Tactical Lich here. Today we have a battle replay sent in by Mr. Teufel. As a long-time supporter of my channel and also a player who has taken quite a long break from the game, he is returning with a High Elf versus Norscan battle, with him taking Tyrion as the High Elf leader, coming in with the full loadout, Heart of Avalon, Sunfang, Feign and Repose, Stand Your Ground, and Foe Seeker on the High Elf Lord. For the front line, Rangers flanked by some sturdy Silverin Guard. At the back there, two archer units protected by some Silver Helms on the flanks. The skirmishing firepower are some Illyrian Reaver archers, and in terms of magic support, a Fire Mage on a Sun Dragon, the only mage, non-character mage in the entire game that has a dragon mount, providing some very solid melee power with 50 attack, 44 melee defense, and a massive amount of weapon strength, armor piercing. Spell kit wise, a bunch of damage as well, Burning Head, Fireball, and also Cascading Fire Cloak to juice up certain units' melee stats. On the other side of the battlefield for the Norscans, we have a front line of Marauders backed up by two sturdier backbone of Marauder Champion Infantry. They're flanked by some Ice Trolls for that mass and armor piercing. Further back, we have some Skin Wolves armored version for the anti-large. On the far corners of the battlefield, two Warhounds, one with poison, the other Beast of Tashnar. And for the Norscan character core, a Shaman Sorcerer of Death coming in with Spirit Leech, Fate of Buna, and Soul Blight. The melee characters are 1. A Skin Wolf Werekin. You don't really see this guy every day, but with Anti-Large and Armor Piercing plus Regeneration and Frenzy, he can be quite solid in dueling characters, while Wulfric the Wanderer coming in with his full toolkit, the Water Fang, the Sea Fang cast, and then we have some Fight or Die buff, Hunter of Champions debuff, Sword of Toggle to juice up Wulfric's weapon strength, and also synergize with the armor debuff of Hunter of Champions, and then of course Foe Seeker. That's it for the army builds, and now let's get the battle started. As the battle begins, the High Elves with their Illyrian Reaver archers on the field, they can do a little bit of poking against the Norscan formations. However, Marauders with their shields in front, not the most cost-efficient target for them to shoot at, especially they are rather cheap, so you're not actually earning that much value by shooting these chaff infantry. Even shooting at the Ice Trolls isn't exactly the greatest target. They have 60 armor, so nothing too shabby, plus the regeneration trait will recover a lot of that lost HP, so not exactly the greatest use of their skirmishing ammo. A little bit of a boat Sea Fang, the Water Fang going down line, doing some pretty noticeable damage to the Rangers already, while the Marauders are still pretty much untouched, while Tyrion getting a little too eager there, exposing himself to a Hunter of Champions from Wulfric the Wanderer, and also the Skin Wolf Werekin is jumping onto the High Elf character, trading some equal blows, while the Warhound ambush is underway. Unleashed upon the archers, they are ravaging the High Elf backline, while the Marauder are trying to rush towards the enemy front line there. Rangers attempting to intercept, but not exactly too successful in stopping the characters from double teaming Tyrion. Now, in the skies, the Mage of Fire will be acting as kind of a mobile artillery platform there, dropping Fireball onto the Shaman Sorcerer of Death, chipping away his health, while there are still some more AoE damage in her pocket. Burning Head and the breath attack of the Sun Dragon blasting away some of these Marauders, while at the same time, here comes the Burning Head. We can see that they are roasting the Marauder front line. Champions with the heavy armor doesn't really care, but the burnt effect successfully routed off the Marauders. Seeing Wulfric brought his Water Fang to kill his High Elf brethren, Tyrion responded with his Fire Fang. Though probably the Burning Head and the Sun Fang did a bit more friendly fire than actual damage to enemies, because the champions are armored while the Rangers are not. In the skies, the Fire Mage is still spamming damaging abilities. Yet another Fireball is dropped, but this time it seems it missed the Skin Wolf Werekin. Now the Fire Mage might be out of magic, but she is not out of options, dropping down into melee combat. Tyrion earlier beaten back the Skin Wolf Werekin, and almost at the hit point level to activate the Heart of Avalon. Getting that proc heal is very important in keeping the High Elf balance of power high, while the rest of the Norscan army is making a heavy push The Warhounds have been eliminated by all those high elf mobility. Even 11 Reaver Archers were dumped into melee combat to push back the Poison Warhounds. Here comes the Skin Wolves trying to push back the Archers, and they successfully did so, now fighting their way through the Silver Helms, while the other Archer has also been eliminated. Back to the middle, the Fire Mage is beating up Wolfric thanks to her Sun Dragon getting the drop on Wolfric, but things are not necessarily going in the favor of High Elves. Norscan Ice Trolls, finished dealing with other engagements, are converging into this middle fight, surrounding and beating up Tyrion. Tyrion, despite being an amazing fighter, being overwhelmed by all these fight or die buffed up Norscan Ice Trolls and Wolfric, his HP is rapidly dropping. A desperate attempt from the High Elves trying to keep Tyrion in the fight with Cascading Fire Cloak, but there's just too much burst damage coming in. A single defensive buff simply doesn't make a difference. But using Tyrion as kind of a bait, a breath attack was dropped into this huge blob of Ice Trolls. These guys take extra damage from fire attacks. Now, the Fire Dragon, the Sun Dragon, doesn't have flaming attacks, but the breath attack does, and with 45% fire weakness, these Ice Trolls do not want to receive any fire damage from any source at all, due to their regeneration giving them 20%, and being a Norscan Ice Troll, they have additional 25% of innate fire weakness on the unit themselves. The Norscans are lucky there are no Flaming Sword of Ruin, because that will annihilate the Ice Trolls in melee combat. Balance of power looks slightly in the favor of Norskins, but they do have to be careful because the Mage with a Sun Dragon can still be a terrifying force in melee combat. Having a dragon's armor-piercing weapon strength and a solid charge bonus, when she gets a drop on Wolfric, getting the charge bonus, she can really put a heavy dent on Wolfric's HP, especially when boosted further by Cascading Fire Cloak in terms of AP weapon strength. And Wolfric is down to less than 1000 HP. Ice Trolls are desperately trying to charge in and screen out the Mage of Fire. She'll be pulling out of combat, while the Silvern Gods are still holding the line. These guys are still very healthy as well, so they can stand their ground well into the late game, given their pretty solid leadership. And Wolfric is rather susceptible to another charge, or even perhaps just Fireball chipping away his health. One hit there, now he's down to 600 HP. Ice Trolls charging into Silvern Guard might have been a mistake here. They could have just avoided combat and stick to Wolfric and provide some protection for him. But right now they're isolated, taking anti-large damage. Wolfric running for his life, dropping a Sea Fang. But now the Ice Trolls are exposed to a rear charge from the Fire Mage. Ice Trolls are quickly terrified as they are being pushed back by the Silvern Guard. The Hunter of Champions is not gonna help at all, as there are no Norscan melee units nearby. With the Silvern Guard between Wolfric and his monsters, he is now super exposed. The Mage of Fire doesn't even bother chasing after Wolfric, just dropping in another Fireball, and now he's down to 285 HP. Silvern Guard is now fighting against Skin Wolves, Marauders, and the Ice Trolls, but here comes a Burning Head roasting a bunch of these Norscan units, and a lethal breath attack from the Sun Dragon, doing extra damage with that 45%, actually not 45%, but 65% of fire weakness because of Kindle Flame activated from the Burning Head cast. That gave the fire breath attack of the Sun Dragon a solid boost. The Burning Head didn't do as much damage against monstrous infantry, but damage is damage, and the Sun Dragon successfully terror routed the Norscan Ice Trolls with a bit of synergy from terror and the burnt leadership effect. Without any monstrous support, Wolfric doesn't even dare to get close to the Sun Dragon. It'll be staying away from the High Elf monstrosity, but that is not gonna save him from the gaze of the Fire Mage. Simply a single Fireball, just like here, is enough to finish off what remains of Wolfric's HP. It's also pretty much impossible to dodge Fireballs now, so that one last Fireball will be sniping out Wolfric. And then the Fire Mage can concentrate on what's left of the Norscan army, biting out a few chunks of these Ice Trolls, terrifying them away. So yeah, that's probably gonna be the end of the Norscan army, because nothing on the field can really hold up their leadership after their lord is dead. There's still some Marauder champions on the far side there, perhaps chasing off some routed High Elves, but the Norskins need the Ice Trolls' mass and damage output to surround and beat down the Sun Dragon, but without Wolfric providing that leadership support and On top of that, the Lord Dead leadership debuff, the Norscan Ice Trolls simply don't have the leadership to stand and fight, especially not against a fire-breathing, terrifying dragon. We'll be going into fast forward there, as the Fire Mage shattered the last of the Norscan Ice Trolls. Now, the Illyrian Weaver Archers, where the Norscans have nothing to catch them, is now helping the Sun Dragon running down some regrouped Marauders. Marauder champions are still fighting, but all it takes is a few charges and a burning head from the Sun Dragon, and the Marauder champions will be terrified away. Realizing that the elite infantry can't turn the table, the Norscan player will be throwing in the towel. GG to Mr. Teufel and their opponent, whoever they are. Unfortunately, I assume their name is not in a font that is supported by the game, so they are not exactly recorded in the replay file. Anyways, for the battle performances, the Fire Mage did some solid damage of 4,000 gold worth of damage value, cutting through the self-heal of the Norscan Ice Trolls and the Skin Wolves, and also, don't forget, sniping out Wolfric with the armor-piercing melee attacks and the fireball spams. Very solid performance from the Fire Mage and her Sun Dragon, while Tyrion beating down the Skinwolf Werkin, tanking damage with the Heart of Avalon, not too shabby. The rest of the High Elf army, the Silverhelms, did fine. Sylvan Guard, one of them didn't earn back their value, the other one earned back way more than their worth. While the Rangers, well, they're Rangers, so don't expect too much from them, while the Reaver Archers did some okay work. Archers, meh, because they got ambushed by the Warhounds. On the other side, Norscans. Wolfric did some solid damage in melee, just not quite enough to carry the game. Same goes for the Skinwolf Werkin. Skinwolf's armored version did some solid damage beating down the High Elf Cavalry, but unfortunately they were not able to grind it out against the Sylvan Guards, while the Ice Trolls did some okay damage, just not quite enough to earn back their entire worth. The Marauder champions didn't really have any good targets to engage here, with only Rangers and Sylvan Guards, while the Warhounds got ganged up on by the High Elf mobility. Silverhelms can just run them down, while the Marauder infantry didn't really do that much since they're just a chaff infantry. And yeah, that's it for today's battle. I hope you all enjoy this multiplayer action, and if you want to see more Total Warhammer 3 content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical signing out.